bottom. DeJounte Murray, Cade Cunningham. You got flexibility. You got free agents coming off the books next year. He did a sneaky little pick that I wasn't even sure was legal with the Scottie Pippen pick just to get a little bit more of an edge. He has a really just deep team. Like, look, 1 through 10. I didn't number the roster spots, but you got John Collins, TJ Warren, who in Brooklyn might put some numbers up, Fred VanVleet, who he really overpaid for, and I was questioning that. But like, it's still like like I can't question the man because look, me, like, am I overreacting?
Brad, he has a lot of talent on his team. He has a lot of young guys on his team. He had guys that I was targeting myself later on in the draft. Thomas Bryant being one of them. I think he's going to definitely be a pretty good pick, especially for such a small salary. And then, of course, you can't go wrong with Kevin Durant. So I think his team might be a little bit of a force to be reckoned with. But yeah, best of luck to everybody this year. Thanks for having me on. Have a great day.
You and Ronnie have a storied history. So
yeah, me and Ronnie are go about as deep as me and you do. But he's 100% right with Brad. Brad's
Paul, you're scared. 1v1.
I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, you know I'm gon' feed them. Coming for me, you ready for a demon. I got eyes in the back of my head, I'm seeing. Take me for granted and you know I'm leaving. I'ma take what's mine with the webs I'm weaving. I could take this crap from seeing to believing. Got a taste for blood and my tongue keeps bleeding. From the words I spit, so sharp, so freezing. So cold, behold, frostbite they feeling. I could tear you apart or I could go heal them. Don't believe in fate, don't believe in feelings. I just need a place where my mind starts feeling. I don't pace myself, I grind on kneeling. Got lust for change, I just love the feeling. No, I ain't gonna give up. Got too little time, I'ma live up. Head down, push forward through the tough times. Cause anything worth doing is a tough climb. I ain't gonna give up. Got too little time, I'ma live up. Head down, push forward through the tough times. Cause anything worth doing is a tough climb. Cause I'ma live life for the fight, yeah, I'm here to get it. I got drive, got sight, always have a vision. I go by at night, I be in my feelings. I'ma be fine, need time, and I'll soon be winning. I live life for the fight, yeah, I'm here to get it. I got drive, got sight, always have a vision. I go by at night, I be in my feelings. I'ma be fine, need time, and I'll soon be winning. I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon.
Just like that, it's ready. We are starting up. Let's go. Unnecessarily long editing intro. This is basically me being bored at work and deciding to just put this stuff together. But I'm not alone finally. I'm not here to just ramble on for 30 minutes straight and out of breath and losing my voice the next day. We got Ronnie here and we have David as well. Thank you guys for your debuts. Well, David's second time, but debuts for a full show. How you guys feeling?
good. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, we're gonna give you a little reprieve on the talking today, so don't worry, you got nothing to worry about.
Yeah, we're a week early because last week they were like, "Hey, look, we're ready to do a show." I'm like, "Really?" So I'm gonna do a show a week later instead of 2 weeks. And we're going to look at some matchups, the typical usual thing, but something a little bit special about today because these two faced off the past week. And they're the two top scorers, I believe, in totality. Definitely the top two threats, I think, thus far. So it was a big matchup. And, we'll get to the result in a little bit. But as per usual, I'm just going to look at last week's results, and especially because I finally pick up a win. I beat Davis, which say what you want to say. Yeah, like, you know what? As a matter of fact,
There we go.
I deserve this. Okay. So 979 points. We're not going to look at my score in comparison to everybody else. We're just looking at the win. We'll get to this later. We'll get to the second one in a bit. Then we had Logan facing off with Zach. Zach, I'm surprised. I really feel like he was going to do a little bit better, but he's still putting up numbers. It's just he's falling into like these tough matchups. I'm happy for John because John has put up some decent numbers week after week. He's just had really tough matchups, but he finally picks up a win over Kenny and Eric. They have a situation that they got to iron out and figure out what's next for them because they haven't really set their lineups, I'll be honest. So then we're going to move forward. We got Austin versus, I don't know who the heck this is.
Brad, man, come on. What are you talking about?
That is 4-0. The guy you heard in the intro today, both of them were mentioning Brad as a threat, and he's 4-0 so far, so he's living up to the hype as well. Then we have Gary versus Ed. Ed picked up a win. Ed's putting up decent numbers week after week. He's just not coming out with these W's.
No, Gary got the win.
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah. It's just Ed's put up decent numbers. He just hasn't been able to get a win. But Gary's doing his thing. Then we got SBP. He's been 4-0, another tough matchup. Then we got Josh, 2-2 thus far, but facing Dev and losing to Dev. Dev is 4-0 now. So in a little bit, we're going to look at the upcoming matchups and stuff. But there is one team that I skipped. I'm going to go ahead and let Ronnie. Go ahead, Ronnie. What happened?
You know what? As the coach, I take ownership, okay? My team, we just didn't perform, all right? We didn't perform, but you know what? It's early in the season, regular season. It happens. And you know what? I think I'm going to work one-on-one drills with John Collins, teach him a little bit how to play basketball because we can't have any more 15 or 17-point games out of them. Fantasy points, regular points was probably 5 or 6. So I'm going to work with him, and then we're going to get Cunningham. We're going to get him into the trainer's room, make sure that he's all healed up and everything, and we'll come out swinging this week. But at the end of the day, it's all on me as the coach. I left a lot of points on the bench out there, and I'll take ownership of it. David, you got the better of me this week, but I am looking ahead. Week 19, I'm coming for you. All right, February 27th, the showdown is on.
I've gotten written on my calendar already. I got another W already written down. It's nice and easy.
I mean, at this point, you're basically just, you know what? You can have the regular season victories. That's great. But
hey, no DZ talk here. There ain't none of that nonsense.
Never. I'm just saying you're basically the Doc Rivers of fantasy.
Oh,
that's all.
Had to go there.
Yeah, as a Yankee fan, I know a little something about winning in the regular season and then kind of flopping in the playoffs. But David, how are you feeling about your team so far? You're 4-0. I gotta come out and say it. I mean, I wasn't critical of your team. My only concern was the depth, like of how you were gonna do. I had a little bit of concern of how Donovan Mitchell was gonna mesh with Garland. I was wondering if that was gonna kind of make him take a little step back. I knew he was gonna be elite regardless. But none of that has happened. And Lauri Markkanen, that was somebody I said early on, like, I really like that pick, and he's delivered. So how are you feeling? I know you're feeling good, but, like, what are you seeing?
Oh, yeah, no, I'm pretty excited. I know I got a lot of crap about depth, but this week, I mean, I had 6 guys break 100 points. That's big for me. And then my big free wild card signing in Goodwin, he pulled up 80 points after 4 days, which was – hey, I'll take that any time of the week. And then what else did I have? Oh, Ja, even though he missed a game, was still my number 1 scorer. That guy, I'm glad I took him number 5.
Oh,
He's been killing it. Yeah. And then what else? Oh, and then, I don't think I took the lead till Friday. Ronnie was kicking my ass until then.
Damn.
That weekend scores, that's what took it all. So.
Damn. So Ronnie, look, I know it's a loss, right? But these happen. Like, you can't expect to go undefeated the whole season. How do you feel about your team overall? I think you're still in a good position, but it's a tough loss.
Yeah, overall, I think we're doing all right. Brogdon, hopefully he's going to come back. He's always injury prone, so when you pick him, you kind of know that you're gonna miss some of the season with him. So I'm okay with that. The reason I got so much depth is because I do have a lot of guys on there that's notorious for missing some parts of the year. FVV, he's my favorite guy in the league, but dude can't stay healthy for a full season. So it is what it is, and if you know your limitations going into it, you can kind of adjust there. But yeah, overall, I think it's still going to be a strong team. I'm super happy with it. I'd be shocked, not to sound conceited, but I'd be shocked if I'm not, one of the higher seeds going into the playoffs. I think that I built the team to compete this year. It is a little bit older on some aspects, but I want to compete this year and try to make a run at it.
Yeah, I think definitely you're in a good position there. It's just probably going to be one guy in your way, really, and it might be the guys that's positioned under you there. And not to like write my team off or anything, but I'm not feeling too confident with Kyrie Irving and Robert Williams. I still feel like I could make the playoffs if Kyrie comes back soon enough. I'm not going to get into the off the court stuff. And same thing with Mr. Robert Williams. I'm hoping he comes back by January and maybe we can make a little push, but we'll see what happens. So that's pretty much it for last week. Unless David has any more jabs to throw at Ronnie, you're welcome to. This is what we do.
Fire away, man.
Nope.
Fire away.
I'll save it for February. I'll when I get that next W, I'll have a little extra for him then.
Sounds good.
Fair enough. All right, so we're gonna go to week 5. So I'm facing off against Austin. I gotta see what's going on with him. I don't mind picking up an easy win, but this is 0 points. So I don't know what's going on. But moving on, we have you're facing off against Gary, David. Gary's 2-2. You should on paper, you should be able to pull out with this win pretty easily. How do you feel about this week?
Oh, it should be better. John Morant's back, Mitchell's back, and Siakam might be back by the end of the week, maybe next week. But having those 3 guys going makes things pretty easy.
Pascal Siakam was the league leader in points at one point. So before he went down, I believe. So big, yes. That'd be big for you there. Then we have Logan's team versus Josh. Man, what's going on? I know we talked about it a little bit beforehand. Ronnie, what do you think is going on with Josh's team, man?
Yeah, first of all, when you lose Harden, it's going to be hard to come back from that. That's top 5, top 10 fantasy player in the league for sure. But yeah, I think when he built his team, it's too top heavy. He picked up 4 major contracts right off the bat, and he filled it in with a bunch of kind of nobodies. Right, he went with the Stars and Scrubs team, and I think it's getting the best of them right now for sure.
Yep, and the Scrubs are definitely doing work, but he still is 2-2. I don't expect
he is. Yeah, no,
I'm not ready to get off, but I'm just a little surprised he's 2-2.
Yeah, I think he'll be there at the end, right? Like Josh is competitive. I've been in plenty of leagues than we all have, so we know that he's going to be there at the end. But yeah, he just got to figure something out with depth. Maybe make a few trades here or there.
Yeah. And are you pretty much lined up with Ron's thoughts, David? Pretty much the same thing.
I'll never count Jokic out. Any team with Jokic, they can make any deep plays. If he has 5 games in a week, Jokic can just count as 6 guys himself. So,
yeah. In case you guys are wondering who his favorite player in the league was, there you go.
Yes.
I couldn't tell. I have no idea.
Yeah, none whatsoever.
I think it's Jamal Murray, from what I've heard.
Oh yeah, he's been something else himself.
All right, so moving forward, we have John, who finally picked up a win. I just want to put a little spotlight on him real quick. Look, he scored a total of 4,420 points. He's averaging over 1,000 a week. Maybe that seems a lot just because my team's crapping all over the place right now. But he finally picked up a win. What do you guys think about John's team? Do you think he's a threat to maybe other people? Maybe not your 2 teams, but
yeah. For me, I think that one, he's obviously sending his lineup, and that's going to go a long way in it. But he does have a ton of depth. I don't think we give him enough credit when you look at his team overall. He's got a lot of mid-tier guys, but then you got Jason Tatum to add to the, at the top of it. You have Jimmy Butler on that team. So, yeah, that plus the mid-tier guys, I mean, he's going to be pretty dangerous. I think, sneaky pick in Wiggins and Adams, they're going to be great depth guys for him. And then Josh Green, who knows what the heck that guy's going to do in Dallas. But yeah, for the most part, he's got a lot of depth there that I think he's going to definitely be in the playoffs for sure.
Yeah. David, what do you think of John's team?
Yeah, I like it. I wrote down Butler and Tatum. I mean, if Butler stays healthy, that guy's a top 15 lock for fantasy-wise. And then Tatum, he's been just absurd still. So you got those two mixed with, like Ronnie was saying, that he's got a ton of depth. I mean, so if he just keeps setting that lineup, averaging 1,000 points, he's going to pull off quite a few wins this year.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
We need to see more out of Christian Wood, though, in Dallas for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
coming off the bench is so weird.
Exactly. I think, like, I got a NBA free agent predictions thing coming up. I think mid-season, at some point they're going to insert him into that lineup, and he's going to be what they had hoped Porzingis will be, maybe a downgraded version, but provide that for the Mavericks. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I think when that happens, he'll be able to put up big numbers. So moving forward, though, and then of course Eric and Kenny, they got to figure it out. I don't know what's going on. This is one of the teams I thought would be somewhere in the mix too, because they have a lot of depth. Not a lot of great depth, but just a lot of depth. Like, everybody can start, so they can afford injuries, which is a big thing in this league because a lot of us can't. But we'll move forward a little bit. So then, of course, we had Austin. I mean, Brad's team is looking really good. I think he deserves a little spotlight here too. He's third. If there's a third threat, I think it would be him. 4,516 points, 129 points a week, 4-0. David, what are you thinking about Brad's team? And that's your buddy.
It's still the youngest in the league, so I mean, and he's got quite a few stars actually showing up this year in SGA. That guy has just been balling. It's wonderful to see. I know me and him talked a lot before he picked him. We were worried that he wasn't going to be healthy, wasn't going to be anything, but he went with it because of I think he's Canadian, so I think that's the reason he ended up taking him. But he's been paying off, and then obviously he's got KD, who's, KD's a superstar. So
yeah,
all that young guys with that depth is just he's scary.
Yeah, moving forward, he really looks like he could be a team that can win like year in and year out. Like, you're just gonna have to worry about him. Ronnie, what are you thinking? Because that's a guy you most feared, and it looks like you weren't too far off.
Nothing's changed for me. No offense to David. David's got an amazing team, but for David this year, absolutely, I think that he's got a shot. But for continual years, year after year after year, Brad, I think is going to be so tough. SGA, you got Ayton there. You got, just go down the list. You take a look at it. Even Lowry, he's a little older, but you need some veteran depth, I guess, on a team that young. But yeah, if I can imagine that there's going to be any team that's just going to be a perennial powerhouse year after year, it's 100% him. This is going to be a slaughter this week between him and Kay. I mean, it's a bloodbath waiting to happen for sure.
Yeah, I mean, look, and Tyree Eason, he hasn't even really came up on any potential yet. Like, he's still you got to imagine he's going to come through at some point. And then you got Nick Richards, who's putting up pretty good numbers, and he's not even a starter yet. So wait till he takes the job from Mason Plumlee. Yeah, Tyler Hero, still don't know. I agree. Like, moving forward, he might be the closest thing to what could be a dynasty at some point. So we'll see what happens there. But we're going to move forward. I don't know why this team is going back to week 4. But anyway, week 5. We have Brad, and he's easily going to win this matchup.
He might not even need to set his lineup. He might be able to win with 4 guys.
This game might be over. Then we have an intriguing matchup too, because I really think Zach's team could put up some numbers. He has a nice mix of youth. This is another team that could potentially be on that dynastic trail if he doesn't trade them all away. I know he's trying to seek a fleece. There's rumors around the league that he's trying to take somebody's entire team for Banchero. But he's in a good position even if he stays as he is right now, even though he's 1-3. But I don't think you should be too concerned about your matchup this week, Ron. How are you feeling about this week?
Yeah, I think I'm a little worried just because when you look at his team, he's a tough luck loser. Every one of his losses have come, 40 to 60 points in that range. So you know that he's competing already right off the bat. You can see the points that he's putting up compared to the rest of the league already. So I think I got it locked. I hope I have it locked down, but yeah, I'm not going to say that's an easy victory by any stretch of the imagination. He's got a great team for sure.
Yeah. David, what are you thinking about Zach's team? Because he was one of the interesting drafts because he was really going the cheap route, and it looked like it's worked out. What do you think so far about his team?
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to pretty much three guys. I think it's like Halliburton, obviously superstar. Vassell, he's had his games where he's just putting up 50 points in fantasy for us. And then there's Paulo. Is he going to be healthy? Is he going to get out there? If he's out there, then I think, and Vassell's normal, I think he can give Ronnie a run for his money. But I still gave Ronnie the tip this week.
And at some point, you got to imagine Middleton's going to come back, so that'd be interesting for his
supposed
team.
to be this week, so I'm a little worried about that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so if that happens, definitely. But I think I got Ronnie picked, but it's going to be close. I think it's going to be close. Let me see. So now, then we have, this is probably the premier matchup of the week. We got the two undefeated teams, Devin's team and SPPB. Mr. Manolis here, 231 to 206. I just realized I have the highest scoring total right now. Like, let's just celebrate. Let's stop the count.
Moral victories, baby.
Yeah. So, what is your prediction? This is actually a real question, Ronnie. Who do you think wins this week? Is it Devin? Or
I got Devin going for the upset, honestly.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I noticed, and I mentioned it pregame, but he hasn't really topped 1,100 more than once. So he's kind of he's winning, but he had a little bit of a cupcake schedule so far. But Sports Blog also had a little bit of a cupcake schedule. They played two of the lower seed teams, so I got Devin pulling it out. I just think that the schedule kind of goes in his favor as long as he stays on and sets his lineup and the stars produce. I like what he's doing there, so that's who I got this matchup.
What do you think, David? Who's winning this week?
I got Devin circled as well. I think Curry is his main guy, and then for the blog, he's got Embiid, but I know the Sixers are pretty lazy, so I know Embiid can have some down games. So I think Curry will be the difference maker there.
Interesting. And then, not to mention, I just know that CP3, I don't know how long he's been injured, but it looks like he's down as well. All right. So moving forward, but yeah, and I didn't even get my prediction. I'm gonna go in the opposition here. I think I'm gonna go with Mr. Sports Blog here, just because I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at the schedule. I just think he's got it like Bam Adebayo and like Bobby Portis, especially if Giannis came back yesterday, but we'll see what happens. But I think SPP might be able to hang on because it looks like he's been pretty consistent with setting his lineups as well. So I got to give him credit there. And finally, I guess the best for last in this case, we got the married man in Davis, and congratulations to him. He's like setting up his house and everything. I know he's been relatively inactive, but he's really a good guy. He's a nice person, and I think once he gets settled in, he'll be 15th in the league. Okay, but all right, moving. Then we got Brian and Christopher. Like, look, I was pretty critical about their team early on, but I didn't think they were going to be this bad. Okay, so what are your takes? I mean, you could pick and choose. Ron, what do you think specifically maybe about Brian and Christopher's team?
Yeah. Actually, I got them for the win this week, just by default, I guess, based on the lineup that's currently in play. I'm not sure if they're going to hit start active or not. But if they hit start active, I honestly don't think his team is that atrocious, right? When you got Levine, you got Julius Randle, you got some pieces there. You got Grant in Portland there, so you have some pieces on his team that I think could make him a little bit more competitive in general. So. And then obviously Trey Young at the top, Buddy Hield. So I think that he's got pieces there. If we can just literally click one button, I think we'll get some wins out of him this year. So that's who I got taking it this year or this week.
Gotcha. And David, who do you got? Who do you got?
Yeah, I'm going the opposite. I went
both of these guys, but who do you got?
Yeah, I went with Davis just because, I mean, same as Ronnie's saying, if he just clicks that start active button, I know it's pretty hard to do sometimes, but he's got Giannis, which I think is just better than Trey Young. But that's who I think is the top end there. So if both teams just click, that start active button, I think it could be a good week for them both. But I went with Giannis's side. So.
Yeah, I don't know if I should message him like, you got Brandon Ingram on the bench. You might want to hit that start active indeed. So wow, this went by pretty quick. I think most shows are probably going to tend in this direction, more the half hour mark. But is there any last things you guys got to say? Like, is there anything we should look forward to? Is there any guys on the block for you guys? Are you looking at anybody in the league that you're trying to trade for? Just what are your thoughts moving forward?
Want to go ahead, David?
Yeah. I mean, I tried trading for a point guard for a while there, but it's pretty hard with the salary thing. He's got a lot of new people, a lot of people that are kind of hard to get a hold of. So, I mean, I'm still always in the market for a point guard, but we'll see how that goes.
You hear that?
I know for me, it kills me that Podol's just on my bench most of the time. When it's a full slate of games, like I have to ride with Podol on my bench, and I'm like, man, that's a great piece for somebody out there because he's having a hell of a year. So someone wants to make me an offer, I'm all ears for it. Come and get him.
Something you can't refuse, right? So so we pretty much did it. And then of course the floor is yours, guys. If you guys want to if David wants to get any more jazz, but I think we're pretty much wrapped up here. We hit the half hour mark.
I mean, hey, I'm the only one that broke 5K so far. So I don't know, you guys might want to start clicking that button a little more. Catch up.
Start acting, yeah.
Catch up, Mustards. These just unbelievable. Hey, we're coming for you though, David. All right, I'm going to tell you right now. I think Isaiah's got he might be a dark horse here to take you out. I think he's calling up some of his players, and he's going to go ahead and send them over and break Jaws kneecaps or something. I think that's what's going to end up happening.
Yeah. I mean, don't let me suit up and sign myself to my fantasy team. I mean, you guys have seen my shot in the past, right? So
yeah, we've seen those. So
that's Curry range, right? So it's like
you got to get your shot on the intro. That's what.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be a perfect fit for the Lakers right now because they need a shot.
Hey, they'll take anybody at this point.
But look, guys, I really appreciate it. I mean, you both are you sure you guys don't do shows that I don't know about? Because you seem pretty. You're made for this. I think this is.
No, it's all Ronnie. He's a people person, 100%. This guy.
Yeah, we need to get the full Ronnie experience on this show more often.
You don't want to see the full Ronnie experience. I promise you. We're going to be.
I don't know about that.
We might have to go to another platform, but we'll make it happen. All right. So, look, guys, I appreciate it. Unless there's any last words, I'm going to let you guys go on about your day. Of course, later on today, free baseball. Mr. Davis is going to make an appearance on that show. And, of course, Jake, I will maybe be there, probably not. But, yeah, that's pretty much it. Unless there's any last words.
That's it.
Nope.
Have me on.
All right. And now for that beautiful outro, because I just like playing stuff. All right, guys.
I can hear the demons call when they do what they do. And now I feel like taking off, find a place with a view. The pain is never gonna stop if it's controlling you. I know that time can heal it all, I just gotta get through. I just gotta get through, I just gotta get through. Cause I feel like taking off, find a place with a view. The pain is never gonna stop if it's controlling you. I know that time can heal it all, I just gotta get through. Sometimes I feel like all is lost, but I know it's not true. I wanna put up all my walls cause I'm not in the mood, but then I cut myself off from the rest of the room. I know that time can heal it all if you're patient, and soon it can all be worth it, all the searching. Pain is never really permanent, but damn it hurts, man. I could feel all of the turbulence and it's concerning. I've been searching for a purpose, I hope it's worth it. This society is really trying me. Ain't no hide and seek, I hide to be far from anxiety. I need my space, I need my privacy. I need some silence, please, you're all too loud. You don't speak quietly, opinions violently thrown across every surface. It makes me nervous. Is the world honestly burning? That's all I'm learning. Hope that we can make a turn and start reversing all our minds and put the work in. We got some work, man.